white, blue, black, red, green. Long ago, the colors lived in harmony. Kind of lived in harmony, sort of. At least, I don't know. Just start the show. All right, what is up, my friends? Welcome to the complete set review for Avatar: The Last Airbender. That's right, the complete set review, Avatar: Last Airbender new Magic set, and of course we've moved on from Spider-Man, thankfully, and we're on to a set, Universes Beyond set, where they seem to actually care about the source material, making a good set, and we're gonna do a complete set review here for the entire set. That is every single card in the set, organized by color. We're gonna go over all the cards for Constructed, all the cards for Limited. We're gonna give out all the awards that you know and love, of course, as we get ready for the release. We're gonna have the pre-release early access event is going to be 10 new brews on next Wednesday the 2nd. Wednesday the 12th at 2 p.m. I'll be on there doing my 10 new brews as I always do. It should be super, super fun. Make sure you watch for that. And of course, Bronze to Mythic will premiere for this set on the 18th, where I'll be doing all my drafts to Mythic and back in the old format, pick one draft, ready to rock and roll. Very, very excited about that. So that's great. That's sweet. I'm pumped. You should be too. But for now,
Hey, you're a real airbender.
I'm a real airbender. So let's jump right into our set review, starting out with white, as we always do. We'll go over all the mechanics as we go, and let's rock and roll with our. Look at this, perfect. That's the guy, right? That's the name of the movie. That's the name of the movie.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay, thank you. Sorry.
Whoopsie.
All right, so Aang, the Last Airbender. This is the uncommon version of Aang. Like most, of these Universes Beyond sets, and kind of like Legendary sets in general, there are multiple versions of each character, which I don't really love, honestly, but this is the uncommon version of Aang. 4 mana for a 3/2 flyer, which is, okay, it's clearly a limited card. When it enters, you airbend up to one other target non-land permanent. So right off the bat, we see here, there's one mechanic for each of the four bendings. All right, so airbending is a mechanic where whenever you airbend something, you exile it, and then while it's exiled, its owner may cast it for 2 rather than its mana cost. And this is a really cool mechanic because this is the mechanic you can use offensively or defensively. Offensively, you can airbend their stuff, and now it's kind of like a pseudo bounce spell where it goes away, and then they can replay it on their turn for 2 mana, but maybe you blink it in combat, or you remove a blocker, whatever else it might be. That's sweet. And then you can airbend your own stuff to protect it, if it's an instant speed airbend effect, to reuse ETB effects, to reset, bad counters or whatever, or enchantments. Really, really cool. You can use it as a blink effect for like warpy things, which is kind of cool, or like cheaty effects as well. Really flexible, really, really cool. Just really, really cool stuff, so really, really cool mechanic. I like this one a lot. I think this mechanic's gonna have a lot of play in both Constructed and Limited. And then this is a pretty simple version of the mechanic where just 3/2 flyer, ETB, airbend something. Gonna be used most often on your opponent's stuff to remove a blocker for a turn, whatever. And then whenever you cast a lesson spell, Aang gains lifelink on the turn. So lessons are back in the set also. More on them a little bit. Clearly a very, very nice limited card. It's a flyer, a little bit of removal, a little bit of flexibility, can gain a little life here and there. So great limited card, not playable Constructed, but there are other Aangs. Don't you worry, because they are quite good. More on them in a little bit. Then we see Aang's Iceberg, and I have watched the first 10 minutes of Avatar: The Last Airbender on my flight home from LA recently. I saw that they had it on the flight. I watched the first 10 minutes and I was like, I'm going to give this more respect than just like, a casual airplane watching. So it's going to be me and Nicole's next show we watch. We're currently watching Lower Decks. So we will watch it. I've heard very, very good things. I'm excited to watch it. I'm a little sad the set's going to spoil it for me, but whatever. So I know what this is though. I know what this is. 3 mana for an enchantment flash. It's basically a Banishing Light or Oblivion Ring or ETB exile a thing. Has Waterbend, the second of the 4 bending mechanics. 3 sacrifices enchantment if you do scry 2. So Waterbending is kind of a weird one where Waterbending inherently doesn't do anything. It's a costing effect. And Waterbending allows you to pay mana because it's a mana cost, 3. Or you can tap your artifacts and creatures to kind of convoke/improvise the mana cost down. So for example here, you can spend Waterbend for 3. You can just tap 3. Cool. Or you can tap 3 tokens or 1 clue token, 1 land and 1 token, or whatever mixture of what you might like, which is cool. So kind of a cool mechanic, honestly. It's a little weird in that it's not like just doing a thing like the other ones do, but kind of sweet. You know, so where it makes you care about, it's just kind of like an extra cost for stuff, which is cool. But it also makes you care about having either creatures in play or artifacts in play or both. So this card, the Waterbend part, is not that important. The core of this part is it's just an instant speed Banishing Light, which is pretty good. You know, Banishing Light's not quite playable anymore. I played that card in Standard back in the day, but like these days it's not really good enough. But at instant speed, it's much more exciting if there's any enchantment synergies or whatever. And then the ability to Waterbend this and scry. So say you Iceberg an opponent's legendary creature, and they play another one. You can just like get rid of it, so the legendary will kill it anyway, or you hit a token or whatever else, which is kind of cool. You could also target your own stuff, I suppose. That's pretty sketchy, but yeah, this card's great. It's obviously a phenomenal limited card. It's just a Banishing Light with upside. This card definitely has constructed legs. I think if there's a deck that wants an enchantment removal spell like this, maybe even like a blue-white control deck, it's just like a pretty non-conditional removal spell, which is kind of nice. So card's great. Pretty big fan. It's not legendary though. It's kind of weird, but. Next up is Airbender Ascension, and there is one of these Ascensions for each bending in a different color. This is a 2-mana enchantment. Whenever it enters, you airbend something, a creature specifically, sorry. You airbend a creature, so again, you can blink one of your things or airbend one of their things. Whenever a creature you control enters, put a quest counter on this. At the beginning of your end step, if this enchantment has 4 or more quest counters on it, exile up to 1 target creature you control, and then return to the battlefield under its owner's control. So, this is like the Ascensions from original Zendikar, I believe it was, where they get quest counters, and then when they have 4 more quest counters, they do an extra thing. So basically, this is 2-mana airbend a thing, which is not like bad. It's not good, but it's not bad. It's 2-mana kind of sort of bounce your thing. But then if you get enough counters on it, it's pretty easy to do by just playing creatures. You can blink a thing every turn, which is kind of nice, honestly. Pretty cool value. I know it's a blink, not an airbend. So it's just actually a full-on blink. Blink it, get the ETB, still into play. Pretty cool. So kind of a cool card. This card is probably going to be pretty good in limited, I would think, if you can get some ETBs or whatever going. Constructed, it might not be fast enough. What deck is playing enough creatures to use this. Also has the ETB effects. It's like a lot of moving parts that have to kind of get going here, but it's a cool card. It's pretty fun. It's nice. Pretty cool. Airbender's Reversal. So we see a lesson here. Let's learn a lesson, right? Someone teach me something here. And
Pop quiz, hot shot.
Lessons were, of course, originally in Strixhaven. And Strixhaven had the learn mechanic. So learn spells were spells that just had the learn tag, which meant that you cast a spell, and then when you learned, you would go into your sideboard or outside of the game and choose a lesson card. So in Strixhaven, all of the lesson cards were very, very overcosted because you were getting them sort of like off these learn cards. And the card advantage is you can't have like a lightning bolt that goes to get, the divination or whatever. So all the lesson cards in Strixhaven were really below rate because of how they were interacting with the lesson mechanic. Not in this set. So in this set, there's all lessons and there are no learn cards. The lessons are basically just a subtype of instant sorceries. There are cards that care about lessons a lot, you'll see, which I really like. More on that in a bit. So because of that, these are costed just like regular spells, which is going to be really, really important for when we return to Strixhaven later and we get more learn cards, assumedly, or for past lesson cards. Or every old learn card just got a major buff because it's getting a whole bunch of really like reasonably costed spells. So Airbender's Reversal here is 2 mana for an instant. Choose one, destroy an attacking creature, or airbend a creature that you control. So this is, it's mostly a limited removal spell. 2 mana to kill an attacker is not really good enough for constructed. If it exiled, maybe, but you can airbend stuff too. So in limited, great spell. This is just a simple removal spell that can also save your own things, which is pretty cool. So nothing crazy, but a cool card. And again, the lesson tag is very important, as we'll see later, which is cool. So. And now we see more. So Airbending Lesson. This is a common 3-mana instant lesson. Airbend target non-land permanent, draw card. So this is your opponent's stuff. This card's kind of gas. In fact, honestly, I'm a little sad to give us the Bombin Common award. Where did I get the Bombin Common award? We'll find out, I guess. But that's a good one, yeah. So, but this card's great. This card is very similar to Repulse. 3-mana instant bounce a creature, draw a card. In that it makes your opponent recast it. It makes them only cast it for 2, not more. So it's not like it's a bounce 6-drop, you gotta play a 6-drop again, but still quite good. You can hit your own stuff. It's an instant. You can do it in combat. It draws a card, which is great. This card's nice. This card's really, really nice. Really, really, really solid card for limited. For constructed, I don't think so. I think it's closer than it looks for constructed because lessons are important, but white isn't really a lesson color. I think if this card was blue, like we might be talking for constructed, and white, probably not. But really great limited card, really fun card. Good stuff. Next up, we see Appa, Loyal Sky Bison. 6 mana for a 4/4 flyer, uncommon. Whenever it enters or attacks, choose one. Creature you control against flying or airbend another non-land permanent you control. So this is only able to airbend your own stuff to blink. So again, it's not a pseudo removal spell, but it's like a fine limited card. The 4/4 flyer for 6 hasn't aged particularly well over the years, so it's kind of only okay in that regard. Airbending your stuff is also like pretty tempo negative. So for a card that's already tempo negative, it's a 4/4 for 6. It's a little sketchy. This is a little bigger, like a 4/5 or a 4/6 maybe, but as a 4/4, not really impressed. Appa, sorry, my bad, sorry.
You're saying it's wrong. It's Leviosa.
I can hear the YouTube comments now. But yeah, so I think this card is not too great as a limited card. I think it's going to play a little worse than it looks. Just the sizing just isn't good enough for modern day limited, but we'll see. It's okay. If you need a card to win the game, it is certainly reasonable enough. Moving on to Appa, right? Appa, Steadfast Guardian, and now folks are really going to hate me. All right, now you're okay. All right. It's a trap. Sorry. So Appa, Steadfast Guardian, trap card. We got a 4-mana mythic, 3/4 flying flash. When it enters, airbend any other non-land permanents you control, and then maybe you cast a spell from exile, create a 1/1 ally creature token. Appa getting totally roasted here. And this card, I think, is a very good limited card. All right. 3/4 flying with flash is like good enough by itself in limited. But this card's not quite Restoration Angel. So airbending your own stuff, in a sense, it's saving your things, but having to replay them for 2 more mana is a lot. That's not particularly efficient. And the bonus for getting exile tokens is pretty cool, but not that exciting. There are cards like Pia Nalar or Pia, whatever her name was, where like would pay you off for playing things from exile. That's in red. White doesn't really have things like that. There are some things you can play from exile naturally, but I think this card overall is just not quite the most exciting. I think that 2 is a lot. If it just blinked your things or whatever, sure, awesome, that'd be great. But I think airbending is a little rough. I think this card's okay. I think this card is like, definitely might see a little play constructed. Probably not, though. It's a great limited card, but I think it's going to falter constructed and just not really be good enough. So sorry, everyone. I know. Mean old Jim shitting on the cute little, cute big righty guy. So it's cool. Next up is Avatar Enthusiasts, a.k.a. you. Right? You all at home? Right. 3 mana for a 2/2. Whenever other ally you control enters but a counter of this creature, this is going to be a pretty solid common in limited. There are a lot of allies. A lot of allies across all the colors. And limited, in limited, definitely you want to go wide with your allies and do your thing. For constructed, no. If this card cost 1 mana, it was a 1/1 maybe. That'd be sweet. Champion the Parish. But I think that for limited, this card's excellent. Really, really good. And just really good limited card. I think, definitely a card you'll know if it's good in your draft deck or not. But I think if you have, 10 allies in your deck, there's also a number of ways to make tokens, more on that in a bit. So a number of ways to trigger this twice in 1 turn, which would be really, really good. So very, very solid limited card, the Avatar Enthusiasts. Next up is Avatar's Wrath. 4 mana for a sorcery. Choose up to 1 target creature, then airbend all the other creatures. Until your next turn, your opponents can't cast spells from anywhere other than their hand. Exile Avatar's Wrath. This card's great. I think this card's really, really nice. It's kind of like the rare Wrath that's good in creature decks, where like a mid-rangey or creature deck, you kill their stuff and save your 1 thing. Note, this is not really a Wrath. It's more like an evacuation where it picks up all the stuff and they can recast them. There's airbending. So they are cheaper and they can be recast. But as far as tempo goes, you get to get a big attack in, maybe use your ETBs. I think that these circumstances you'll want this card are pretty particular. I'm playing creature deck, you're playing creature deck. Maybe I have some ETBs, maybe I have one big creature. Cool, you know. If those circumstances aren't met, then, you know, Day Judgment would be better or whatever. But I think that this could be a playable card constructed. I think it's also pretty good limited. And again, the fact that they can't replay stuff immediately is pretty cool. And then also, if you happen to be playing against a deck that has Discover cards in it, or other cards, you know, that are exiled or played from the graveyard, then you just can't play those for a turn, which is really cool as well. So that's nice. So yeah, sweet card. It's a nice one. Definitely, you know, kind of a fringe playable, but I think really, really cool. Really, really fun limited card also. Next up, we have Compassionate Healer. 2 mana for a 2/2 human cleric ally. When it becomes tapped, gain 1 life and scry 1. So, love the flavor here. I think this card is a really, really good example of Avatar being a well-designed set, unlike some recent sets, which will go nameless. This is a card that has a clear purpose. It's a good limited card. It's 2/2 for 2. Has a good ability. If you attack with it, you gain a life and scry. That also plays well with the main waterbending mechanic. Is if you tap it for waterbending, you get to do a thing. It has that weaved into the flavor of the art and the flavor text. This is just a card that is crafted with care and goes to show that this set like actually cares about both Magic and the source material. You know, it's not just like, blah, here's some cards, cool, buy some stuff, you know, like, so cool, really, really cool. I like to see it, and really nice. And but yeah, great limited card, not playable, constructed, but pretty cool. Some reason, you know, having an ally type here is really, really good. So yeah, good stuff, good draft card, and just like, I don't know, for me, a signpost that like some care was put into the set, which is nice. Next up is Curious Farm Animals. 1 mana for a 1/1. I don't know how this boar, elk, bird, and ox are only a 1/1. Like, those are some pretty big tucks on that boar there. But 4 types, 1 mana 1/1. When it dies, gain 3, and 2 mana sack this creature, destroy an artifact or enchantment. Kind of like a Haywire Might-esque card. Now, obviously, it's not an artifact itself, and you can't find it with Urge Saga or whatever, so it's a deal. But antlers, horns, whatever. But this is a cool card. You know, gain 3 life is definitely not nothing. It's more of a sideboard card. You know, it's more of a card. You know, I think 1/1 for 1 that gains 3 when it dies is not really playable by itself. But this is a pretty solid sideboard card. Looking for a disenchant. You know, 2 mana is cheap enough where you feel fine about it. Gain a little life on the way out, which is kind of cool. Yeah, nice little card. Probably better as a sideboard card in constructed than in limited. Where in limited there really aren't like a ton of artifacts and enchantments this set. So it's cool. Just a nice little card. Nice card to have. One of those cards where you're almost surprised you haven't seen it before. You know, just like, oh, cool. They haven't done this yet. That's pretty sweet. Destined Confrontation. 4 mana for a sorcery. Each player chooses any number of creatures they control with total power 4 or less, and then sacrifices all other creatures they control. Kind of weird to have 2 weird situational 4 mana sorcery speed wraths in the same set. But here we are, I guess. So, pretty weird card. It's good against, it's kind of like the wrath that's good against like large creature decks, you know, or if they have like 3/5/5s in play. You know, sorry, bud. But pretty weird and hard to use. You know, if you have a couple small 1/1s, or if you have like one good 4-power creature, or I don't know. Definitely weird. Definitely falls in that kill your big stuff, I have small stuff space. But 4 or less is not like, you know, that's pretty reasonable. So I don't know. Kind of cool to see it uncommon though, where like now you have like a super you can kind of like play with and around in limited, where like this kind of effect is almost never uncommon in limited. So that's kind of cool. Pretty fun. You know, pretty fun card for limited. Probably not playable constructed. And it is very, very good in wall decks. That is if you like building wall decks or defender decks, really, really good there. Or like playing small utility creatures, whatever else. So that's kind of cool. Pretty sweet card. Earth Kingdom Jailer. 3 mana for a 3/3 human soldier ally. When it enters, exile up to 1 target artifact, creature, or enchantment an opponent controls mana value 3 or greater until it leaves. So kind of like the usual Fiend Hunter, you know, Banisher Priest sort of creature. Being a 3/3 and not a 2/2 is a pretty big deal. It's also a human and an ally, which is also good creature types. Only it's bigger things, so it can't hit tokens, which is kind of a stinker. But this card's reasonable. Definitely a good limited card. And then constructed, I think this card has an outside shot. You know, I think that there's a lot of good allies. This card kind of does that thing. It's pretty easy to cast. So it's nice. Good limited card. You know, fringe playable constructed card. Earth Kingdom Protectors. 1 mana for a 1/1 vigilance. Sack this to give it other ally you control indestructible to end of turn. This card's okay. You know, I think if you're playing an ally deck and this is effectively just sack this to save a creature, that's pretty cool. I wish it was hexproof also, because there are a lot of like -3/-3 or exile effects. This does not stop, unfortunately. The vigilance here isn't particularly exciting either, but you know, I think if you're trying to protect an ally, this card does that. It's a cheap creature, you know, fringe playable, probably a little better in constructed than limited, where you're like protecting something powerful in constructed, whereas in limited, like just kind of a 1/1. But yeah, you know, it's okay. It's a little fringy, but enter the Avatar State. 1 mana for a lesson. On a turn, target creature you control becomes an avatar and gains flying, first strike, lifelink, and hexproof. So kind of like a different riff on the usual protection spell. This one does not give a buff of any kind, but first strike and lifelink is pretty good combat-wise, and hexproof's kind of cool too. I think this card is like, it's okay. I think it's not playable in constructed. I think there are just better protection spells. In limited, it's fine, you know. Just giving first strike is not really a great trick. And like, just giving any one of these for 1 mana isn't really good enough. And it's often unlikely that you'll be able to use more than one at a time. You know, maybe flying and lifelink is like the best pairing, but like first strike and hexproof like doesn't really matter, you know, that much. I guess like if they try and kill your blocker and save it not as first strike, it's kind of cool. But I don't know. I think this card's fine. You know, not really playable constructed. Okay and limited, a card to watch out for, but overall, you know, it's fun. Fancy Footwork. A lot of lessons in this set, folks. 2 mana for an instant lesson. Untap 1 or 2 target creatures. They each get +2/+2. An actual blowout in limited, where be very, very aware of this card in your drafts and sealed games, because you know, opponent makes a weird attack and I have 2/3/3s and they attack with 2/2/2/2s. Like your alarm bell should be going off, you know, because this card is quite potent if it actually works. But yeah, good limited trick. Pretty reasonable stats. You know, it's 4 damage if you're looking to just kind of race. Untapping is, you know, reasonable also. Yeah, just good stuff. Honestly, good limited card, nothing more. Gather the White Lotus, not Black Lotus. Get it? It's the thing. It's the thing. Anyway, there's 1 card in each color for, that has this basic land type matters thing going on, which is pretty cool. Honestly, I think that having ways to reward players for playing monocolor is a nice thing to do. You don't see that very often. This is a 5 mana sorcery. Make a 1/1 ally for each planes you control and scry 2. So in theory, you're only going to play this card in constructed if you have 5 planes in play. So you get 5 tokens, scry 2. Clearly, there are ways to make allies matter, which is kind of sweet. You know, there are different ally effects and buffs, and we'll see those as time goes on. That being said, I feel like if you're building an ally deck, it's probably going to be multicolored, because there are good allies across all the colors. So you want to get access to all of them. Therefore, making this like not really the most exciting ally card. But if there's some sort of like mono white token deck playing 1,000,000 planes, probably not good enough for constructed these days. But good limited card if you're going to get like 3 or 4 tokens off of it. Does scale reasonably well. Scrying's pretty good too. So it's cool. I like it, but you know, it's a little underpowered. Glider Kids, 2 mana for a 2/3 flyer. When it enters, scry 1, human pilot ally. So cool. So we have like, you know, well past Windrake these days. I think 2/3 is a little better. It's also an ally. A little scry is nice here too. So yeah, I mean, this is like your kind of typical limited filler common. It's okay. It's not particularly exciting. I would like to not have this card in my deck if possible, but I wouldn't be sad if it was in my deck. Glider Staff, 2 mana for 8 artifact equipment. When it enters, airbend it to 1 target creature, and then it's equips for 2 mana to get +1/+1 and flying. So kind of a expensive effect. You know, this 3 mana to play and 2 to equip for +1/+1 and flying is not great. But you do get to like bounce one of their things, which is nice, or blank one of your own things. Most likely, this is just going to be like kind of like a mana war. You like play it, you airbend their thing, remove a blocker, attack, and you have this thing in play that can kill them. Flying is a big deal in limited for like shitty aggro decks, where like as a way to kind of fly over. You know, Dragoon's Lance in Final Fantasy was a really big idea, a really big deal in that set. So this is very similar. So yeah, nice card, cool limited card, nothing really more. Hakoda, Selfless Commander. This one snuck into the spoiler. There was a few cards previewed this morning that were not on there last night. So when I was looking over it last night, this one was not there. So 4 mana for a 3/5 Vigilance, which is a pretty decent stat line. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. You play allies from the top of your library, and you may sacrifice this to give all your creatures +0/+5 and indestructible on a turn. This card's pretty nice. If there's some sort of ally deck in Standard, there is a lot of support for it. This card's great. I mean, good top end. The future sight effect is quite powerful in a deck where like you need to have some card draw. It blocks reasonably well, has a good ability, plays well against wrath effects. This card's nice. I'm a big fan. It's insane limited card, obviously. You know, if you ever cast one card off us, you're way ahead. But yeah, this card's pretty sweet. Like it a lot. Very nice. Cool. Toughness buff and indestructible stops things like, you know, Munich Massacre or -2/-3 effects, whatever else it might be. And yeah, bomb limited card. Next up is Invasion Reinforcements, and I'm not giving this the sleeper award, but I think this card is phenomenal. Really good. So we've seen this card before, not as an ally. Saw a good amount of play in Convoke. It was in Dominaria. Just 2 mana for a 1/1 ETB human, make a token. This being 2 allies, though, is really important for any sort of ally deck. If there's an ally deck in Standard, this will be the linchpin. Will be the absolute linchpin. Really potent card. Double ally triggers, double all your allies' effects. I think this card's excellent. Really good. Definitely, if there's an ally deck constructed playable, even if there's not, you know, we've seen this card see play here and there constructed without it. Yeah, great card, great limited card. Just really solid. Nothing fancy here. We've seen it before, but this is quite potent. Oh man, Zhang's Deserters, 2 mana for a 1/2 human rebel ally. ETB, put a counter on a creature. This card is great. Really good limited card. Usually this card is a 1/1 for 2, and it's still a very good limited card. Having this be a 1/2 is phenomenal. So base level, this is a 2/3 for 2 with good types and synergy. And beyond that is also like pumping your stuff and whatever else. Card's great. Phenomenal limited card. Probably not good enough for constructed. If for some reason there was like a mono white ally deck that wanted to make use of that Plains ally card and you were like scratching for playables, I think this card, you know, is at the floor of playability for constructed, but probably not. But card's nice. Great limited card. Really good stuff. And apparently I said it right. Thank you. I'll be here all day. Now I'm going to say something wrong. Kyoshi Warriors. 4 mana for a 3/3. When it enters, make an ally. So, as I was saying earlier, as far as the ally stuff going on, this is a great common and limited. Double triggers for your ally stuff. So we saw that common earlier that gets bigger when you play an ally. And this is 2 counters on it, which is great. So, really good limited common. Clearly going wide with allies is a great thing to do in limited. And, yeah, great limited card. Not very constructed, obviously, but Saffron Olive posted a tweet today asking who should have, he wants to have a mispronunciation off at MagicCon Vegas, and people are saying it should be me, and now I'm currently ruining my bid for that by saying names right. So I'll try and stop it, all right, if I can do that. The Legend of Yang Shen. Is that right? Is that wrong? Is that right? Am I back on board with Seth? Or 5 mana for a mythic sorcery saga, and kind of similar to Elspeth Conquers Death. We got a 3-chapter saga. When it ETBs, it's a lot of words for multiplayer, but in one-on-one it just says exile one of your opponent's things that has mana value 3 or greater. Same thing as Elspeth Conquers Death. Chapter 2 is you may have your opponent draw 3, and if you do draw 3, that was a little sketchy. It is chapter 2 of the saga, so you do get to use the cards first. You know, most of the time when you have a card that says, like if I had a sorcery that just like 2 mana, they draw 3, I draw 3, or 3 mana, they draw 3, I draw 3, they get to use the cards first most of the time. This one, you untap, chapter 2, draw the cards. But it's still a little iffy. You have to really believe that your cards are better than your opponent's. I like that's a May. You could pair this with like, you know, Narset or Hull Breacher or something like that, sure. But yeah, that part's a little weird. And then chapter 3, it transforms into Avatar Yongshen, which is a 4/5 flyer. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, airbend up to 1 target non-land permanent. So a pretty good card. Like, not a lot of, there's no lifelink here, other good keywords. Just a decent flyer that can, remove some of your opponent's creatures. Kind of a cool control finisher where you just like, kill a thing, airbend a thing, or whatever else it might be. Overall, like, not the most exciting, but it's cool. I think that as far as the whole package goes, it's pretty good. 5 mana, kill a thing, maybe draw some cards, get a flyer. Not too shabby. I think worse than Elspeth Conquers Death, which was a really, really like a staple card in Standard, but still cool. And then, but yeah, really, really good, limited card, just absolutely bonkers. Just like 5 mana kill thing's almost good enough by itself, and there's so much more to do here as well. So, phenomenal limited card, maybe playable constructed, we'll see, but pretty cool. Oh, man, now I'm feeling pressure to get these right because I've gotten a few right in a row. Master Piandao. That's probably wrong. 5 mana for a 4/4 first strike, human warrior ally. Whenever it attacks with top 5 cards of your library, you may reveal an ally, equipment, or lesson from among them, put it into your hand. Rest go on the bottom. So this card is obviously a great limited card. I mean, 4/4 first strike for 5 is reasonable. Whenever it attacks, you draw a card most of the times. An ally, equipment, or lesson should be most of the cards in your deck. And then the body's fine. Just a good limited card. Nothing crazy. Just good. Just good draft card. Nothing more. Momo, friendly flyer. Because it has flying. Get it? 1 mana for a 1/1 flying lemur bat ally. The first non-lemur creature spell with flying you cast during each of your turns cost 1 less to cast. I guess I gotta go look up and see what the hell cards are lemurs currently in Standard. That's a very weird line of text to have on a card. That's not really a common creature type, but sure. That being said, that ability is really, really good. There's just a Llanowar Elves for flyers at all times. It's like pretty insane. Whenever another flyer enters, this gets +1/+1, which is good. Yeah, I mean, this card is, I guess, sure. By wording it like this, it doesn't count itself. So if you play this and then play whatever, Steam Core Scholar, the Steam Core Scholar is the first non-lemur creature you've played this turn. So sure. But so that's actually pretty well. It's a really weird line of text, but it makes a lot of sense gameplay wise. Again, showing care in the set making, which is great. But yeah, this card's great. I think if there's any sort of flyer deck, it's just really, really awesome. It's just Llanowar Elves in white, which is phenomenal. Also, all mana legend for Mox Amber decks. I'm sure we're gonna brew some Mox Amber decks in Pioneer at some point because like that's awesome. And yeah, this card's great. It's really, really solid card. Card's a flyer. Quantum Riddler. I hear that card's pretty good. So yeah, card's great. Really, really nice. And then if only we had more lemur support. Oh, we do. Look, it's Momo Playful Bet. Lemurs. They're everywhere. 1 mana for a 1/1 flyer. This is the uncommon version. And this is also 1/1 flying vigilance. When it leaves the battlefield, make a food, put a counter on a creature you control, or scry 1. I love the vigilance here. Maybe you saw my short on Lightstall Inquisitor of them probably putting that on so you can't web sling it. And this same thing has vigilance so you can't web sling it. So sorry, all you Spider fans, not this time. Yeah, no web slinging here, but not a bad little card. Not a bad target to airbend. So if you're in combat, you can airbend this, put a counter on something that's pretty cool. And then of course, if it just dies, you get a food, which is pretty cool. It's nice. Good card. Another 1 mana legendary creature in white for Mox Amber, which is really important. So that's really cool. And yeah, you can Waterbend with it also because it has vigilance, pretty cool. But yeah, cool card. Again, I would not be surprised if if it's a flyer deck in 10 new brews. Look for that next weekend. Momo City Pigeon. All right, let's stop Spider-Man jokes to try and get on the path of redemption here. 2 mana for a common or Bombin Common. This is simply a pacifism. 2 mana for a pacifism, which is great, obviously unlimited. And it has the ability 5 mana, sacrifices aura, exile enchanted creature, and make an ally token only during your turn. That's awesome. I'm sure there's some flavor reason why this is instead of airbending. I mean waterbending, because it feels like a effect that would have waterbending, just given like the texture of the set. But yeah, great card, phenomenal limited card. The Open Path to Redemption. Yeah, 2 mana for pacifism is great. Being able to have a mana sink later in the game, actually exile a creature, you get a token is great too. Yeah, it's great. Really good stuff. So really good limited card. Bombin Common for white. Probably not there in constructed, but great card, great limited card. Will be in many of my draft decks in Bronze and Mythic. Rabberoo Trap. Get it? It's a rabbit and a kangaroo. Oh, I get it. Okay, sure. That's fine.
Do a barrel roll.
5 mana for a 3/5. Landfall, gain a life, and it gains flying. Has plane cycling. So in the last like 4 years of limited, there have been often these common land cyclers, not counting the Lord of the Rings ones. All right, because those were insane for 1 mana. These 2 mana land cyclers have mostly been pretty bad, to the point where you just almost never want them in your deck. They were in Final Fantasy, they were in March of the Machine. They just weren't very good. The land cyclers in this set are much better. They're almost all just like playable, almost on rate without the cycling effect. And then with it, they're phenomenal. And then also with firebending in the set, as having land cycling as an extra way to use the mana in combat is pretty cool. More on that later. If you have no idea what I just said, I'll explain it later. So, but yeah, this is like 3/5, pseudo flyer for 5 with plane cycling. It's good. Good draft card. Not a high pick or anything like that. But yeah, just a totally reasonable card. Karn doesn't like it. Karn sees the rabbit. He's like, no, the rabbit. I'm going to get him. I'm going to get the rabbit. All right, that's Karn. Karn's good? All right, Karn's good. Thank you. So, yeah, so good limited card. Obviously not playable constructed. Yeah, so. Next up is Razor Rings. 2 mana for an instant. Deals 4 damage to a target attacking or blocking creature. And you gain life equal to the excess damage dealt this way. One of those cards where I'm just really surprised this card has never been made before. Because it's just like this card. Similar cards to this. Usually like deal 4, gain 2 or whatever. So kind of a clever way to make a removal spell. Where you have like, kills a small thing, gain some life. Kills a big thing, you don't gain some life. Cool. Just a good limited card. Good limited card. Not really good enough otherwise, for constructing like that. But just good limited card. Nothing crazy. Not much different than the things you've seen in the past, but just fine limited card. Not amazing, just fine. Next up is Sandbender's Storm. 4 mana for an instant. Choose one. Destroy creature power 4 or greater or Earthbend 3. Earthbend 3. What's Earthbending? So Earthbending is the one of the 4 bending mechanics. Earthbending is animating a land you control. It's 0/0 and putting the number of counters on it. So Earthbend 3 means animate a land you control, give it haste to make sure if it came into play with a turn, it can still attack, and then put 3 counters on it. Most importantly, when it dies or is exiled, return to the battlefield tapped. So we've seen a lot of these sort of like animate land mechanics in Magic's history, and they kind of suck. Where losing a land isn't really worth it a lot of the time. Awaken from like, what was that? One of the Zendikar sets maybe, and that's the thing. So this fixes that because it allows you to not worry about your land dying, so you still get it back. However, it is important to note that even if your land will come back if it's destroyed, if you're planning on using a land for combat purposes, it's not going to be used as a land then. So you are, in essence, kind of losing the land. You just get it back when the creature dies. So be aware of that. But yeah, this card's fine. Not a bad little limited card. It's kind of like a flash 3/3. If you have 5 mana, you can kill bigger things. The fact this has a buyout, where like if you ever cast the destroy creature part, it's really, really good. And then having a buyout for a 3/3 is not bad either. So it's fine. A little surprised this card isn't a lesson, but it's good. Fine little limited card. Nothing super exciting. Definitely a late pick, but South Pole Voyager. This card, if there's an ally deck, folks, this is it. This is the card. 2 mana 4/2/2. Human Scout ally, so 2 good types. Whenever this creature or another ally you control enters, you gain a life. If its second time this ability is resolved this turn, you draw a card. And that is awesome. If you're playing allies in any way, that is just... The card hates allies too. Really, really good. Drawing cards is great. Gaining life is great. Very similar to Hylia from Edge of Eternities. That, of course, is for any creature or artifact. This is limited to allies, so it is stuck only helping allies. But even if you're playing some non-allies, you're just gaining life here and there. It's kind of cool. I'm sorry. Never mind. Allies. So my bad. Sorry. Card distracted me, right? It's just...
Oh, whoops. Whoopsie.
We're good. But yeah, a lot of good allies in the set. Really good in multiples. Card's super nice. This card's a banger. If there's an ally deck, this is the card for the deck. Yeah, really, really cool stuff. There are a lot of allies in older formats too, so this is a kind of card that could revitalize them as well. But yeah, Southpaw Voyager, banger limited card also. Constructed card, looks great. You know, we saw the Raise the Alarm for allies and so on and so forth. So card's a banger. Best in show for white is South Pole Voyager. Next up is the Southern Air Temple, and we see the return of shrines. There's one shrine each color. It's an uncommon, and this one is it's kind of the worst one, in the sense that, all right, let me rephrase that. It's the worst one in the sense of being a shrine. It might be one of the better ones as far as just like actually just, you know, a card you put in your draft deck because you can just bump the team and stuff. But even that's not that good. So 4 mana for a shrine, ETB, put X counters each creature you control, X number of shrines you control, and then put another shrine you control. So wherever the shrine you control enters, do the same thing. So all the shrines have a templating of ETB, do a thing, because for shrines you control, and if a shrine enters, do the thing again. I guess the red shrine does make tokens, but this seems like it's pretty rough on both sides of the ball. Usually shrine-style decks, or decks trying to play shrines or whatever, are building towards this large incremental advantage that does not include creatures, making this not very exciting. So, I don't know. You know, maybe if you have, if you do have 2 of these, in limited, you could like play one and play the other one, just legend rule it and whatever. It's still okay, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of cool. I think this is the least exciting of the shrines as far as like a shrine deck would be concerned. But it's okay. It's kind of cool. You can airbend it. That is true. That is an important thing. So you can airbend this, get more triggers off it, which is kind of sweet. So that's kind of cool. A little cross-set synergy. But overall, I think it's not that exciting. And for constructed, like, I don't see how this card could be good enough for, you know, just not really doing the thing. Suki, Courageous Rescuer. The meta for a 2/4. It's a partial anthem. All other creatures can plus them so. Whenever another permanent you control leaves the battlefield during your turn, make a 1/1 white ally token, but only once a turn. This card's pretty nice, honestly. 2/4 is a nice stat line. It is certainly coming up against Cosmic Grand Zenith in that like 3 mana 2/4 payoff kind of card. But this card hits pretty well. It's good Voice of Victory. It's good mobilize cards. It's good with like nurturing pixie stuff, but like I don't think you really need that. You can kind of just like play creatures. Creatures will just die too. So this card's nice. Good card. Being legendary hurts it a bit. I think can't play like 4 of these, but I think this is a reasonable card for an ally deck, for an aggro deck, for like white weenie deck, for a pixie deck. But again, it is competing with Cosmic Grand Zenith, which is like kind of tough. But nice card, pretty powerful. Bonkers and limited, of course. But you know, got a chance to get constructed. Team Avatar. The mana for an enchantment. Whenever a creature you control attacks alone, it gets plus X on the turn, where X is the number of creatures you control. So like pseudo exalted. And this says 3 mana, discard this card. It deals damage equal to the number of creatures you control to a target creature. So this card's kind of sweet because that channel effect, the discard effect, is like not quite good enough by itself, but a really awesome buyout to have. And then if you're kind of stalled or you have like a lot of guys laying around, this can sort of push it all into one big attacker, whether it's flying or whatever else. Cool limited card. Constructed, no. But pretty cool card. Obviously, beloved characters on here, I can only assume. And yeah, it's cool. United Front. Folks, this is my sleeper card for white. I think this card is a heater. An absolute heater. White X Mythic Sorcery. Create X 1/1 ally tokens, then put a counter on each creature you control. So, if you want, this can be white, put a counter on your team. Is that good enough? No. But when you add in the modality of a 2/2 for 3 that pumps your team, or 2 2/2s for 4 that pumps your team, or 3 2/2s for 5 that pumps your team, that is insane. Really, really insane. You are getting so much stats, and the fact that this is really good on like 3 or 4 mana, and then if you just happen to be flooding and have 8 mana in play, it's just absolutely ridiculous. Card's awesome. I think this card is really, really good. Currently being overlooked right now. Probably unbeatable and limited, but I think also very playable, constructed. You know, again, we see the ally stuff. All the ally stuff's really, really nice. One downside here is this is an ally card. And if you're going to play a multicolored ally deck and you're playing a lot of Cavern of Souls and like, you know, typo lands that care for multiple colors, this can't cast that. But this card's really nice. Really, really good card. They play really well together. There are a few other cards we'll see that are really good with this. Plays really well with South Pole Voyager. Just really, really good stuff. So, card's awesome. Really, really good. Big fan, big sleeper. If this card's pre-ordering for cheap, get him now. This card's awesome. Really, really good stuff. But sleeper card for white is United Front. Vengeful Villagers is next. They mana 4/3/3. Whenever it attacks, choose a creature an opponent controls. Tap it, then you may sacrifice an artifact or creature, and if you do, stun it. I don't know. I think his card is just okay. A little too small. You know, having a hill giant with an attack trigger and limited is like pretty unexciting. And obviously you can tap things to kind of push through, but I don't know. You're playing like black-white sacrificey stuff, and you have like clues, sacrifice, and so on and so forth. But the bottom line here is the sizing is just too small. I just think a 3/3 for 4 isn't very good enough. So I think it's okay. Playable and limited, but pretty unexciting. And yeah. Water Tried Captain. 2 mana 4/8/3/3. 5 mana, pump the team. It's a good draft card. A little weird that the Water Tribe Captain doesn't have Waterbending, but yeah, this is fine. Just limited filler, you know. Not a great card. It's an okay payoff if you're going wide. Not a card you're embarrassed to play, but not a card you're like taking high at any point in the draft. So kind of cool. Also cool Firebending. That is a pretty cool little side effect here too of your Boros, which is cool. So that's nice. Water Tribe Rallier. Now we do see some Waterbending. 2 mana 4/8/2/2. Waterbend 5. Look top 4 cards of your library. Reveal creatures with power 3 or less and put it in your hand. Risk go to the bottom. This is a card we see fairly often. Just like the 2-drop that can like spend mana to draw cards sometimes. And having Waterbending on it is pretty sweet for like mid to late game board stalls. You just have guys in play. You say go defensively and step tap them all and draw. It's pretty cool. So great limited card. Constructed, probably not good enough. Really cool. Yip. Right? Yip.
That's rough, buddy.
I'm trying out here, right? Lesson, +2/+2 in flying. I'm sorry, +2/+2, it's flying. If it's an ally against flying, this is your typical limited combat trick. Nothing really fancy here. We see this card all the time. So, yeah, it's fine limited card, nothing more. So to recap, best in show for white is South Pole Voyager. We've got sleeper card United Front, and we got Appa Steadfast card as our trap card, and Path to Redemption as our Bombin Common. We got a whole set review to do, folks. Whole set review, all right? We're going over all the cards, like I said. 10 New Brews is going to be on next Wednesday, and let's freaking do this, all right? Like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned. Blue's coming up.